In last week's video, I mentioned that it was just about time to give the Tiftuf a little bit of love. And by that, I mean, we're into the middle of summer now. I haven't actually done anything in the way of a groom or a scarify. Now, I'm not talking a height reset. I'm not talking about going down to dirt. I'm just talking about a mid-season tickle up. We're just gonna run the Scott Bonner, the 46, over this area here. We're just gonna dredge up any dead material, and there will be plenty of dead material here. Gonna thin it out. It's going to allow a bit more moisture, or a bit more nutrients to stuff to get down to that soil a little bit faster. And the other thing it's going to do, I'm hoping that it's going to shock a bit of that seed head out of it, but then again, it may actually encourage it a bit more. I'm not certain. For some reason this year, and including on the Santa Ana, and I still tend to think it's because we had such a cool, funny start to the season, the grass is still somewhat confused. So this is about, what's it about? I think it's got about 20 growing to, can't even get the words out, 20 grain degree days left until I need to reapply some PGR. So this is putting me in the box seat right now to do a reno. So today we're going to grab the 46, we'll go over this in two different directions, dredge up some material, and we'll thin it out a bit. So as you can see, since last week, the seed head has continued to rear its head, and it's not the prettiest of heads around, but it is there. And like I mentioned, the Santa Ana has been doing exactly the same thing. There's been no absolute difference at all. And traditionally speaking, I don't actually see very much seed head in Santa Ana at all. So the fact that I'm seeing it in all my cooches, I'm putting it down to climatic and seasonal changes rather than a characteristic of potentially just the Tiftuf. So although I do believe Tiftuf, I think, has slightly more seed head in general than Santa Ana, this season I'm simply not seeing any difference. They're both seeding the same amount. And as I said, the best way I can combat that, or to minimize that, is to go down the road of a plant growth regulator, or the PGR. So anyway, let's crack on. Let's get this 46 happening, and we'll see what we come up with. So I've just done a little test here. I've set it up fairly mildly. I haven't gone down too deeply, and I've gone over it the two directions. I've just basically done a little plot, just a little trial, just to see how things are looking, and I'm really happy. The first thing that I've noticed is a lot of this stuff is actually chopping out a lot of seed head, which is ideal. So hopefully that'll help to thin out a lot of my seed head issue here. I'll probably end up going over the Santa Ana as well, although it's probably not really ready for something like this, but if it's going to chop out the seed head, that might not be such a bad thing. And then we'll continue on with our PGR, because as I said, we're just about out of the window here. In fact, the green is due for an application today. I won't have time today. I've got a few things on. I need to get this shot. So anyway, let's just kick on and we'll get this done. We'll clean up and we'll see what it looks like when we're done. Okay, so first lap over the lawn now, and I'm really happy with the amount we took off. As you can see, over the back here, we got a lot more off than what we did down the front. Now, one of the reasons I believe that was the sub base. So would be the sub base. Now, not the actual, technically not what the grass has been planted in, but what's beneath that. Now, through this higher area here, this was all imported black soil, which is this stuff over here, and that holds a lot of nutrient. So that's what the back of this area here has been created with. Down the front, along the concrete path, we scraped into the natural ground that's here, which is very poor. So we do have a line which does sink together with about where the where old meets new, or original, or I should really say where the original soil meets the imported sub base. Now, if I had more of that material, absolutely, I would have actually done the whole lot, and we wouldn't have had a change like we've got. But it's not really going to be a big issue. It just means this bottom section here may want marginally more fertilizer than the top, because this has probably sent roots down deep into that black soil, and there's a bit of nutrient there, and it's really loving it. As we come down again, it fades out a little bit, and you can see that where the material fades out. For the sake of it, I probably don't need to double do this, but I will anyway, and we'll come back across here now at a different angle. We'll go over it again, and we'll clean it up, and we'll see what we're left with. So pretty happy with how that came up. As you can see, we'll clean up now. We should still be left with a nice green surface. Now that was about all I really wanted to take off. Again, as I said earlier there, not much happening there. Most of my requirements were sort of more up through here, up towards this back corner. But yeah, no, when we brush away our scarifyings, we're still going to be left with a really nice surface. And just again, looking at that, it really looks to have cut out those seed heads. So really happy with that, because that is not a bad problem to have. Okay, so it's time now to clean up the mess. Now, I tend to gravitate towards this machine because it actually does a really good job of collecting the material, and second of all, I can keep my Honda blades nice and sharp for any normal style mowing. So I keep my little Victor Mustang here in the shed for renovation purposes, and if I need a Honda on top of that, I've got it. But 9 times out of 10, this is the machine I go to. Proper old school 2-banger, plenty of power, plenty of ability to clean up grass. Starts pretty much first go every go. Righto, so about a third of the way through now cleaning up, and as you can see, it's really actually made a huge improvement. We look down here again, we have alleviated most of the seed head that's there. Now, the final mow, obviously we'll run over this with the reel mower, we'll give it a nice, real clean, tidy cut Obviously the reason I'm using this one here, it's better at picking up bulk material. And just in case any sand or any granules have been dredged up, I really don't want to run those through a brand new reel or freshly sharpened reel there. So that's what's going on here, making good progress. And yeah, the best is yet to come, because underneath that, that's where the good stuff really is. Not that this is bad, but you'll notice here, a whole different ball game. Well, I'm actually really impressed at how this has turned out. Gone from a really seedy patch of you know, Tiftuf with the seed heads everywhere to pretty much no seed head at all. Now look, that's not going to cure the seed head. The seed head is going to come back. Obviously this is one of those things we can do to manage our seed. So obviously the next thing will be a reapplication of PGR just to curb that seed head growth, and it should actually stop, or minimise is a better word, minimise any extra seed head that comes along going forward. So we'll just see how that plays out. As you can see, huge improvement to what we started with. You look here, you can see our lines run this way when we went that way, and there's a couple that go this way, but really opened up and stood this grass back up. And as you can see, it has really removed all the seed head, and that thing there is just an absolute weapon. I love it more and more every day that I use it. So yeah, anyway guys, look, we'll wrap the video up here. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. We'll catch you next time on the Aussie Lawn.